Testing, testing, testing. We need to talk about aliens today. I've been doing a lot of research on it lately. I've been hearing the research and the philosophies, viewpoints of a lot of the personalities out there, such as Stephen Greer, George Green, Bob Lazar, Robert Lazar. He was with S4, the offshoot of Area 51. Not as many people know about S4. I mean, if it's all true, he gives a good spiel. He's been talking for a lot of years. There's Billy Myers. I was going to say Billy Bob, but Billy Myers. Then a researcher that they claim was murdered, Dr. Kathleen Turner. She wrote a book. She's from Texas. She was just an English teacher when it first started happening to her. Now, I'm not so sure about her story. It was there was a long-winded conference talk she was doing, and I couldn't gather everything to assess it. But let's just go primarily based on Stephen Greer, who's very well known. He's with Disclosure Project. I did a little video about his big movie that came out. Now, has anyone seen the Sirius, the movie documentary, Sirius? And in there was supposed to reveal the facts about the Atacama mummy, the little mummy. It was about this high, and they found it well preserved in the desert up in the Andes, I guess in Chile, northern Chile. Now, I haven't seen the movie, so I couldn't find any clips. I just watched the trailers, but the clips don't tell you much except how they did the testing. So they're keeping pretty tight lid on it, and I don't have the ability right now to go out of my way and get that movie. But if you've seen it, give me a little comment or PM me if you don't want to do any what's it called when you ruin the movie script? You give away the movie. I don't know. Anyhow, fast forward. Talk about aliens. What we really need is by the way, it's hot here. Oh, it's extremely hot. And now it's humid because the monsoons have started to trickle in. But we need a diagram. Just imagine over my head here, if I had like all the high-tech stuff. You get beep, beep, blop, 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 all around, just like a diagram. And you see like I want different classifications of what other beings could be out there. As long as you just see like a human being, Homo sapiens sapiens is one creature. That we are, but that's another whole can of worms, and I'm not going to go on a tangent in that direction. We are the aliens, in fact. I know you're saying, yeah, that's really the clincher. We don't have to look anywhere else for aliens. We are that. We are them. And speaking of multiple personalities and multi-level beings, you know that I've got that going on. I mean, look at all my multiple YouTube channels. That's the first proof right there. You look up a person and you see 10 channels, that's a multiple personality disorder. Absolutely. The psychiatrists agree. Now, back to the aliens all around us. Like this, if I could do the graphics, like bloop, 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 bloop. It's hard when you're looking at the screen trying to get this to happen. So where's my high-tech crew? Come on, guys. Okay, here's the Alpha Centauri alien. Oh, I don't know if there is one, but that's the closest sun. It's only like several light years away from our own sun, star, I should say. But stars, if you see, it's only called a star if it's far away. If it's close to you, it's called the sun. So when you get to the star, they say, oh, that's the sun when you're there. Now, there's zeta reticuli, which is a binary system. So they call them reticulans or the zetas. And then there's where the reptilians are from. I think some of them are from the Draconis system. And then you've got the zeta reticuli are grays, apparently. And you've got Sirius, which I guess Stephen Greer is saying that some alien forces are from Sirius. And you've got, what's the other main one? You got Pleiadians, and they always talk about that book, the concept of the Pleiadian agenda. And the Pleiadians are supposedly like airy-fairy. They're very like advanced, like spiritual, cosmic. They're not, apparently the Pleiadians are not reptilian or anything like that. They're not even grays. And then there's one other one. They got Orion, and they've got, anyhow, these are just places. If you get a map of our local cluster, local group of stars, you can find it. It's actually a three-dimensional model that they've created, a three-dimensional map where you can go like over this way or this way, you know, and navigate. If you have a spaceship, you need this kind of a thing. Now, I want to get very serious here about Sirius. Is there a difference in pronunciation? Are there any linguistics majors out here? Give me some pronunciation help. I'm serious about Sirius because I want to tell you really what I believe as a researcher, as a totally radical, truth-seeking, spiritual guru that I've given unto my viewers and my public. The thing is this, and I just thought of Michio Kaku, you know, Dr. Kaku, who's quite a handler of subjects, but I take him with a grain of salt. But I think he does have a lot to say. I'm just not sure who's pulling the strings. But when it comes to advanced civilizations out there, here's the key. Here's the key. And I think that Stephen Greer really confirmed this for me. Here's the key. Here's the key. And I'm going to quote from him. He says that you don't get to do interstellar travel. You don't even get to leave your solar system until you've reached a stability of peacefulness and good behavior that can be seen from the outside. So they're watching us. Okay, that bears repeating. Yes, they're watching us. Second of all, he says that this is your ticket. In other words, the Earthlings will get a ticket, entry ticket, to be able to depart, like departure out of here. We will be allowed to do that when we have reached that level and it's been approved. So, you know, I thought long and hard about it, and I've always had this kind of on my mind, but at the point, I really took a lot of what Stephen Greer says, not everything, but I took a lot of it to heart, and I'm seeing that the basics, the fundamentals of it must be true. And by the way, I saw the interview of Stephen Greer by Project Camelot. And many of you that watch me have probably seen Project Camelot. If you haven't, then go over there. I'm saying don't get all consumed in them. They do. They don't do real interviews. Like if you watch the one with Stephen Greer, it's a debate. It's seriously a debate. It's not a polemic because they actually have a lot of common ground. But they don't really let him talk, and he's getting a little bit, you know, having to defend his space. And he at one point tells the interviewer, Cassidy, you know, you're going to talk over me, you're going to talk over me, I'm still going to make my point. And but the fundamentals of what he's saying, even though they might disagree, because they're more in the fear realm. Like, let's address the fear of the aliens. Let's address this valid, you know, concern that we should have. But Stephen Greer is saying, no. And he says, he keeps hammering this point. So, I mean, how do we get around this argument or this theory? He says there's no evidence of any hostile influence or hostile activities from ETs. And here's the distinction. Here's where he's also keen to what I'm saying. We need a diagram. We need to understand any non-human entities that, you know, have what seems to be individualized or organizational intelligence. That any of these high-level beings that can affect us. And I just thought of viruses too. We don't quite understand viruses yet. But let's go into more like beings that we can kind of visualize or imagine, and everything from ghosts to ETs. Wait, you have to stop because I'm in the middle of a video. I swear, you can go into the playroom now. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to go in the playroom. That's really rude. All day I serve your interests and your needs, and you do this to me and to the viewers. You should be ashamed. Go. Now, I was saying about extraterrestrials. To stick with the definition, it means a species that has evolved or resided in another system, solar systems or multiple systems, and they've been able to travel somehow. And this is the whole thing about UFOs is the whole other thing. That's their technology. But if they're able to travel, I mean, then this is the big question about what they might be. One major theory, which I've studied, is that they don't actually send themselves. They create a synthetic doll, or it's like a remote-controlled being that they're going to get within. They project themselves into it, but it's not their own body. It's an artificial body. But the body functions. It's like cybernetic android type of thing. By the way, I got scratched when I was in the storm. So if they send this and it operates the craft, but remote control through their own minds, they control it, and then the thing comes here, that way they don't have to travel through interstellar space. Stephen Greer actually says that you can't go under the speed of light or at the speed of light. You have to faster than the speed of light. I mean, that's supersonic like warp drive to get anywhere in the universe. I mean, if you're going to cross a galaxy or go, God forbid, if you can imagine go from galaxy to galaxy. I mean, that's mind-boggling. How many thousands upon thousands of light years is that? Whoa, I mean, so you got to be using wormholes or black holes or something, stargates. But here's the thing: if the being doesn't actually leave, they'd rather be where they are, you know, physically, since we have to look at it as, you know, physical bodies, and on this type of this classified area. Hey, this classified area of the diagram, this classification, I should say. Then what we're getting here in the bodies that were recovered at Roswell, and I think they were taken to Area 51, but the crash was at Roswell, or the attack that the humans made on them. Who knows really what happened? But these bodies, the 3 or 5 of them, I think there was 3. These were the synthetic bodies. Now, other people say it was actually the living alien. That was the actual alien. Hey, you know, this is the whole thing. That's why we need a diagram. We need something comprehensive. We need to work together here, people. Now, here's the other thing. What is demonic? I mean, or what is a demon? And exactly a demon. So a demon may not physically exist. You can see them, or you can feel them, or in your dreams, or it's an incubus or succubus. You know, a demon is something else, right? That can't be an extraterrestrial. That's just the stuff that's here on the earth, right? So here's the distinction that, as I said, especially Stephen Greer is making, And that's not so much George Green talks about other stuff, but he's not as in depth. If you don't know about him, look up George Green. He's supposedly an elite insider that jumped the ship. It's a terrible thing about Ted Kennedy and Pierre Trudeau, but that's another story. If extraterrestrials really must be so wise and benevolent because they've reached a level to be able to travel to the Earth and observe us, are they really going to be hostile? So, we got to think about that. In one of the books that I read and had a huge impact on my thinking, but I'm still not believing it 100%. I cannot give in to just believing it. I don't even do that with the Bible. I don't even do that with the Quran. I mean, God forbid. I believe what I know and what I am as the primary mover of all things and all knowledge. But if I read this book called The Alien Interview, and it had such an impact on me, one of the things it said that was so impressive was about the synthetic doll that was operating the craft that crashed at Roswell, New Mexico. And I've been there, by the way. I mean, that's right near the Trinity site. See, near where they culminated the Manhattan Project in the 40s. That was to end World War II, or to end World War II. It never really ended. It just transferred on into another world war. But if you think about the technology that could be developed, if we've developed how far in 100 years, and then what if we succeed and develop another 100 years? How can you possibly think of? Oh, okay. Here's the thing. I have imagined it because I've thought deeply into it, and then I read the Alien Interview saying that it's really almost like Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams, where like they're gonna come through, and if you might have seen the latest movie version of this. I used to listen to the BBC radio version. Excellent. I mean, the BBC does things right sometimes. Douglas Adams talked about how this huge, alien organization was just going to come through the solar system and clear the Earth out of the way because they needed it for a new interstellar highway. And who is it? Forget the names. Zaphod, Beeblebrox, and blah 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 blah. Trinity. All right, enough with the names from the fictional book. Here we have the idea of an alien organization that has taken over large parts of the universe, multiple galaxies. And they're coming over to this way and they're saying, yeah, here's like this outback area, the Earth, not so important. Eventually we're going to get to dealing with it. But what happened here is what's said in the Alien Interview, is that our section here was taken over by a rebellious, evil alien organization, which is going against the main one. So there's a main one, and then there's a faction or a separate group fighting them, and they're working their way around the galaxies to, conquer what they want. And they're the evil ones. The smaller group is the evil one. And Alien Interview talks about how this has been the Earth's major problem for so many thousands of years, and reason why we can't develop. And they have some kind of technology that's been put into place to keep us always screwing up. Well, I'm not screwing up, folks. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to rise to the top. I'm going to give you the truth and the knowledge, and if you listen, then we can start to work together. I know that's not happening a whole lot, but anyhow, thanks for listening. We just touched very lightly. We scratched the surface on all of this, and I hope you enjoy figuring out these things. Make your comments, share this with all your friends, favorite it, thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. Thanks.